You are now listening to the Do It Movement podcast, where we share our experiences in real estate investing and encourage you to take action. You don't want to miss what we have in store today, so let's welcome our host, Martine Richardson, and our co-host, Eubanks.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to the Do It Movement podcast. This is your host, Martine Richardson, your buy and hold coach. I am joined today with my co-host, Eubanks, and the Kate
Yes,
Denise.
perfect.
I hope I said your last name right.
I'm so excited to be
How's
here.
it going
I love
today,
your
Kate?
energy.
Man, I love your energy too. I love it when someone is on the podcast and they
too.
match the energy of the podcast. So
knows how to mirror
very,
and
very
match.
excited. Right?
Love it. I'm so excited just hearing a little bit about what you're doing. I cannot wait to ask you about your journey. And I just know our listeners are going to get a ton of inspiration. And I hope everyone's taking notes because I just feel like
so
this is about
excited.
to be big.
Oh yeah, it's going down.
Well, thank you so much for your time. So could you tell us a little bit about how did you jump into real estate? Were you always intertwined in it or what,
Yeah, I'll be totally honest. I
feed?
got into real estate for money. Shocker. I watched those millionaire real estate shows on Bravo and all the reality shows when I was younger, right in my teens. And I skipped school. I didn't go to college. Well, I went to community college, but I skipped college, and that's all I wanted to do was get into real estate. So I bought my first flip when I was 24, and I also got my real estate license that year as well. And the rest is literally history, as they say. And it's been 11 years.
Wow. You said that so simple, like, I just did this, just did that. But, what put you in that direction? Did you know someone? Did you, what pulled it out
Great
that
question,
made it
actually.
real
This is a
estate for
funny
you?
story. I asked another friend, family friend that was a realtor already, and I asked her what she thought about real estate and if I should get my license and et cetera. Because I was obsessing over it. This is what I wanted to do because, again, money. And when you're younger, you think money will fix all. Anyway, and she actually told me not to get into real estate. She was like, it costs so much money, your license, there's all these fees, all the things. It's very hard to be consistent and make money in it. And it's not all what it's cracked up to be. And so
Wow.
that clearly was the wrong person that I talked to. So it's very important who you ask and who you seek advice from.
Wow. I love that. That is huge. We're always preaching that, but you start learning who you're going to go to for advice. So they said, no go, don't do it. And you were like, this may work, or what sparked you to go that way?
I think I thrive off of when people tell me I can't do something.
Yes, I love it.
Tell me that I'm not going to be successful in real estate. And so that was it. I just there's all these people on TV that I'm watching that are very successful in real estate, whether they're being a realtor selling a lot of real estate or they're flipping and investing in properties. And so why not me? And I was younger, so it was easier. I didn't have the world didn't have a chance to beat me up and prove to me otherwise. Since then, I've lived a life. Just getting around the right people. Essentially, mindset is absolutely everything. Why not me? Why wouldn't I be able to make it in real estate?
I love that. I hope you write that person a thank you card for pushing you in that. So that's awesome. So when you started, did you start with flips or what did you jump into first?
I didn't have a coach yet, right? I was young and I didn't even know coaches were a thing, to be honest. I grew up in this little tiny rural town in New Jersey. And I bought my first house with cash, my own cash, not other people's money. and
Oh, wow.
lived in the property while I renovated it, again with my own money. So it honestly took me 2 years, 3 years to renovate that property. 2 years maybe, again with my own money. And then I started to get a coach, and I realized, you're supposed to use other people's money and, all the things that coaches teach you in real estate investing. So that's where I first started. I started out the hardest way possible, in my opinion, right? I was using my own money. I was living in this house that we literally gutted the entire property with an 1800s house that hasn't been renovated. So it was just a disaster. So I've lived through construction for a few years for sure, but it taught me everything. I mean, I knew how to refinish floors myself. I knew plumbing fittings. I knew stuff about electrical work. I knew stuff that I didn't want to know and I shouldn't have known. But later on, it helped me anyway.
That's amazing. So that first deal, that really, even though it took you a while, it paid off. And what did you end up doing from there?
I did the famous
did you buy up
strategy. No, actually, I refied out of that property. I stayed in it for a little bit. I bought that house for $135,000 and I renovated it for roughly $100,000, so $235,000, and I ended up refining out of it and then selling it for $350,000. Yeah, so
that was my drum roll, by the way.
Whatever.
I was wondering where's this coming from.
Roughly $100,000.
Is freaking awesome.
And
you said that was from a refi? You do not know how valuable that information is. Everyone thinks they have to sell in order to get big chunks of money. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If you can really spot deals and figure, spot a really good deal so that you can actually get some money back and keep the property, that's freaking incredible.
No taxes.
No taxes.
No tax. And it continues to pay you?
No.
So did you rent that out, or what did you do with it?
I paid cash for it, so I didn't own anything on it. So I was able to essentially take a home equity line of credit out on it, essentially refi out of it. And then I took that money and I bought a few towns over from me. You were able to buy properties for $65,000 at the time, 40 minutes from me. And I took that money and we bought for $65,000. We put 40 into it, so we're in it for $100,000. We refied out of it, so we got our money back, and we put a tenant in those, and I ended up selling those for $165,000 a couple years later down the road.
Oh my god!
Just growing it. So go ahead, Martine.
Well, I was gonna say, just hearing that one first deal is just so inspiring, because you moved into that property, but you bought that property and you were figuring it out, how to do it. This is your first time. It took 2 years. Right now, the 2 years is probably insignificant, but when you were going through it, the 2 years probably
my
sucked.
Kitchen
was horrible.
Appliances were in my dining room. Then the next month they were in the living room. I mean, we gutted everything. So yeah, it was a very, very long time living in construction. But I was young and I was like, this is what you need to do. But now looking back, it's not what you need to do. You don't have to do that at all. There's easier ways to do it.
Right. I prefer the boss, the people around that are doing the work.
You're the
that
coach.
method went well for me. But so I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into you said you've been doing this for 11 years now. So I really want to dive into the different areas of real estate that you've been in, because I feel like you're being very humble here on this podcast today.
Yes.
And I need the people to know who we got on the podcast because you have a ton of accomplishments in real estate. So if you don't mind, 60 second spiel. What are the different areas that you have been involved in real estate?
So 30-second highlight is I grew a real estate retail team, meaning I had agents under me and we sold 200 houses a year, roughly $70 million in production every year, all organic, sphere relationship based, no paid ads. I owned part of my brokerage in Princeton, New Jersey. I owned part of a title company. I owned a transaction coordinating company that I started, and then I got into coaching. Along that way, I did 2 flips a year roughly. I started using other people's money that I would borrow from an uncle and pay interest on. I would sign a note, etc. And I built up a smaller portfolio, 11 units, short-term, mid-term, long-term in Florida, actually. I started investing in Florida 6 years ago. Then I got the 11 units and I had them for 2 years. and you're not going to love this, but I hated having it.
That's
And I was like, I
okay.
got to get rid of
Most
these.
people do.
Yeah.
Most people
We
do.
want the
I
truth
gotta
on
get
this
rid of these. I
podcast.
feel like I don't want calls anymore about the toilet breaking. And I know you can hire a property manager, etc. It just like
Yeah.
Right.
I've had enough. I like flipping much better, like in and out.
Hear you.
I love it. That's so inspiring that you're able to do so much. So, when you first got into real estate, how long did it take you to build, that it sounds like you went from 0 to 200 like so quickly. I mean, 11 years that to do all of that. When did it start off slow and pick up, or did you build,
Yeah, so
pretty quickly
the retail
your
transactions,
team?
I was just haphazardly like selling for friends and family. Like I wasn't really like trying to grow it essentially. The reason I got my license honestly was to be able to have access to the MLS, and um, so it was easier so I could look at properties to buy, to flip. And then I actually ended up getting a coach, and that's when my retail team and business went from, I was selling like 15 units, and within 2 years I was selling 200. Literally. It was like, I don't
Wow.
recommend that
Wow.
passive
Freaking
growth
incredible.
for anyone. There was like a lot of personal development going on during the time and a lot of struggle for sure. I should have probably not grown that fast, but I was just obsessed with like learning, and I got what I needed out of it. But yeah.
Right. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think when people get into business, they think so much of how much money they can make getting into real estate. They don't realize that you have to grow as a person as you are doing all of these deals. So, what did that look like for you to try to grow as a person and
Great
do
question.
development on yourself?
And you don't know what you don't know until you're like in it and you're doing it. So I was younger, right? I was in my 20s. I'm
Right.
35 now, but I was in my 20s, and a lot of people were still going out and partying and doing the things that were not in alignment with where I wanted to go. And so I had to learn to draw like boundaries around my time and where I spent it and with who. So that was a really big one, like learning boundaries, what was yes, what was no for me. I would say hiring and leveraging out my first person ever was a really big mindset shift for me. It took me too long to hire my first person, my first assistant. And I actually had like an absolute mental breakdown one day. I was getting up at 5 o'clock trying to do all the things. And, by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I was still in my office working. And I'm like, this is just ridiculous. And one day I absolutely had a mental breakdown, and I started to hire somebody. So I took too long on that. And then, once you hire your first hire, you're like, my God, how many more people can I hire and leverage out?
Right.
Oh my God, it was
Your
brutal.
first is your hardest,
I
huh?
had a really big block around it. Like, I don't want to give up a couple of dollars. Like, it was a lot to me then. I don't want to give up essentially like thousands of dollars when I can just do it. Like, it's such an easy job. I can just do it. And I think once you make that mindset shift, which is like, what is the highest and best use of your time? What are the income producing activities that you're doing? And what are the income producing activities that you're not doing? Like, paperwork's not making me money. So who can I immediately leverage that out to? And like now I don't even know how to sign into Dotloop, and I don't want to know.
I don't either. You're inspiring me.
Right. Yeah, because we go through this period where you're like, oh, well, I can do it. Why would I pay for that? I can do it. But then you see how much it frees up your time. And then now you can focus on the things that matter. Not that the Dotloop doesn't matter, but you can focus on bringing the revenue into the business, which is the most important part of the business. Otherwise, we're going back and we're working at Chick-fil-A. But go ahead.
And like just identifying, especially in real estate, identifying what your income producing activities are is so important, and everything else that's not that, just give to somebody else.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I want to let you know that you're preaching to the choir right now, or maybe not even the choir, the people that need to hear it, us. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to go hire somebody to go do something. And did I do it? No, I
Yeah.
just started doing it on my own. So you're preaching to us here. So tell us about, like, what do you do now? What do you focus on
right now I
in
still
real
have
estate?
some of my rentals, and I'm looking to sell if anybody's interested. So I still have in Florida.
Where are they?
So I still have some of my rentals, and then all of my focus, I would say 95% of my focus is just coaching. So business coaching, helping other real estate professionals launch their coaching company is where my true passion is. Like, obsessed with helping others in whatever way that I can. And that's what I spend my day doing. And podcasts, of course, because how fun is this? Yeah.
Right. This is fun. I enjoy this. Like, we have a standing appointment every month that I have to talk to Lori because we have this standing appointment every single Thursday. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Who are, like, ideally people that would need your help?
Well, obviously I can help with scaling if that is in fact your desire. But really my main focus is real estate professionals that have a passion and purpose now to go help other people. Because real estate can be very transactional, right? Like, let's not lie. Yes, you're helping the homeowner, etc., but it does become very transactional. And so in growing my team and everything that I did, my whole purpose was like, I just want to learn enough to be able to go coach, because that's where I get my most, like, that's my purpose. That's where I get my most fulfillment.
When did that aha moment come on for you? Because I remember you saying when you first started, you got into real estate for money. And yeah, you still want some money, of course. People got to live. But when did that aha go into, well, I'm really not in this just for the money. I'm in this because I want to help change other people's lives.
I made the shift, I would say 2 different times. So one, I didn't know what coaching was when I first started. When I was 24, what the hell do you know then? So I didn't know coaching was a thing. And then once I started getting my first coach, and I went through, not every coach is created the same. I went through a few coaches to find the right coach for me that worked for me. And so once I saw that impact on me, I was like, oh my God, like, I didn't know this was inside of me. I didn't know that this was even possible. And when you can find a coach that can see that in you and extract that out of you, that's the coach that you need to hire. So I immediately was obsessed with becoming a coach after I found that person that did that for me. The second time where I really made the pivot was I was making more money than I ever have seen. And I thought that money when I first started was going to fix all of my problems and life was going to be beautiful and great. And when I got the money, I was like, this is the worst. I have so much responsibility. And by the way, I didn't fix any of my problems. And I'm so busy running all this stuff that I've created, which I created. And so I just needed to, like, shed a lot of this. When I got my coach and he made an impact on me, and when I realized money didn't buy it.
Right.
That's amazing.
I think we get to a point, like, when you're in the grind or you're trying to make it happen for yourself, you think, oh, I just want this money, or I just want, that car, that luxury car that I've always wanted, or I just want whatever that thing is. And then as you continue on, you realize that this thing really isn't making me as happy as I thought it was.
Yep.
And when you get to that point, you're kind of like, I just want something that's more meaningful, more purposeful, more fulfilling. And that's what I'm hearing in what you're saying. And that's one of the reasons that I love coaching, because to see people go from, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm not exactly sure how to do this at all, to it's a little different for you, I think, because you're doing business consulting, but I'm sure once they get that first breakthrough, they're oh my God, this is possible, right? For me, it's like once they get that first deal and they didn't have to use any of their own money to buy the deal, it's like they get that, oh my gosh, she wasn't BSing us. This is true. This really works. And then they get that belief in themselves that makes them get another deal, like, way faster. Like, the first deal takes forever, but once they get that belief, it starts happening, like, way faster. What does that look like in the business
I'll
consulting
say, for me, in helping people create coaching companies, it's like once they get their first student, essentially, it's like the biggest win. And so as soon as I get a client, I'm like, how am I going to help them get their first client? Like, where do they need to go? Right. Cause I like understand like who they are, where they go, who their sphere is. Right. And so I like help navigate them. And then once they get their first student, it's like absolutely game over. So that's how that translates for me now, not in the transactional, more in the student way. And so I would say the biggest thing is, to your point, once they get the belief system, right, it's not about, we have it backwards in America, unfortunately, but they don't need to get the first deal before they believe, right? If they can learn to believe first, they will get that success quicker. So if you can teach your students how to essentially become, like, identity shift into that person that they're looking to become, whether that's a real estate investor or whatever, a father or whatever, then the universe, like the law of the universe, is supposed to bring it back to them, which would be, in your world, their first deal.
Right. So let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, was that too woo-woo?
Sorry. Of shifting beliefs, because we are here to give people the juicy. That was good, but I'm going to make you go deeper. Because, like, let's say we have someone that their belief system is, I don't really know if I can do this. I don't really believe you can even buy houses at a discount. And I definitely don't believe I can use someone else's money 100% to buy the house. So if somebody is struggling, I'm just using those as examples. But if they're struggling with a belief that you need them to have, so I'm assuming in your case it would be, I don't believe I'm going to get any coaching students, and you need them to believe that you are a coach, you can help these people, you add value, all that stuff. What is something that you would suggest they would do starting off so that they can get that belief system?
Phenomenal question. So I'll give you tactical and tangible things that you or your students can do. So first and foremost, ask yourself if that belief is true. Like, is it true? Is it 100% true? Like, is it real, or are you just making that story up in your head? Are you the only one that like you're talking to Martine and Lori, like they have these rental properties and they bought these rental properties without their own money. So that belief is null and void. It's just a story made up in your head. And so it's because people don't think that they're worthy enough, essentially. They don't have enough self-worth, which is another society problem, but that's for a later topic. And so, like, okay, cool, let's go to the root. Like, you want to talk about it deeper? Sure. It's how do you create your self-worth? What is your self-worth? So I refer to it as a self-worth equation. And so if I asked you guys right now, like, what does your self-worth equate to? It cannot be anything external. It cannot be anything that you did or built or bought or your nice car, nothing. Your self-worth is all internal, right? So if you lost everything tomorrow, why would I still be friends with you guys? It's because you're funny, you're energetic, your energy is so positive and amazing. You're nice, you're loyal, right? Those are all of your characteristics that make up your self-worth equation. And that's what people need to rewrite in their head. And if they start to practice that every morning, right, they start to journal about who they are internally and build up their self-worth, they can start to believe in their identity shifting. Is that too much? Are we good?
No, you hit the nail on the head. That was
so good.
It was great, because what people don't realize is that what is happening on the outside is just a projection of what you think about yourself. So if you aren't getting these things, if this stuff is not happening for you, it's because there's some belief system that you may have inside of you. Maybe you're not aware of it and you need to pull it up out of them. You are making that belief come true. And a lot of people, they think that it's the opposite. They think, well, this is my reality, so this is why I believe that, because this is my reality. When 100%. What you believe shapes your reality. That's pure gold. If you're listening to this and you're driving, I'm going to need you to pull over. Stop this podcast right now. Who does that? Stop that podcast right now. And jot that down. We are in 2025 now. So you could probably get AI to take the notes. But yeah. So if people want to get in touch with you, Kate, before I get to that, I want to ask you, what is something like a game changer that you can share with people that you really feel helped you in the trajectory of your career? So it could be, I don't know, it could be a coaching program, it could be a book, it could be a podcast, whatever you feel like really helped you. Like, dang, if other people read this would really help them a lot.
If I had to narrow it down, just maybe off of the topic that we're referring to is, none of this stuff is like woo-woo. There's like doctors that have studied it and proven it now. So Dr. Joe Dispenza is like an absolute go-to for me. And he essentially teaches you how to rewire your brain. And I think if people actually started to do that work first, counterintuitive, so you think, it'll actually help you project to where you want to go sooner. And he talks and teaches about how your reality is just a mirror reflection of what you think, and how your thoughts produce your reality, and how to reprogram them, essentially. So if anybody's struggling with limiting beliefs, which I think everybody does, including myself, that's a really good go-to. He has a podcast, he has books, he has YouTube, all the things. So,
and what's the guy's name again, to make sure they didn't miss it? Okay. You guys sound that out and let Google correct it for you.
I'll put them in the notes.
Now, Kate, if there is anyone listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, thank you for watching. What is the best way and they want to get in contact with you? What is the best way for them to get in contact?
On pretty much all the platforms you can find me on, and you can shoot me a DM and I'll help in any way.
I love it. Lori, if people want to get in touch with you, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
I'm on all the social media sites, and Martine, my email will be shared on the notes as well. And love to talk deals. We're deal junkies. We're buying, selling, renting. We're doing all the things. Yes, and currently jumping into assisted living facilities. So if you want to connect and just talk it up, love to hear from you.
Okay. And the best way to reach me is through my link tree, because now it has everything on there. You can follow me on all the socials. You can set up a 15-minute strategy session if that's what you want to do. But I want to invite you specifically to join my free buy and hold community. It's called The Freedom Inc. on Facebook. I ask you 4 questions to get you into the group. Once you answer those questions, it's totally free. I have a case study every Tuesday where I show you exactly what it looks like to do these deals using none of your own money. And it's for the people that do not believe. So I'm going to have my link tree in the show notes. And just click on that and just follow me on everything. And because this is a live podcast that's coming out today, I have an event coming up. It's called Freedom Fest, June 6th, 6 to 8 p.m. If you are interested in building financial freedom in any type of way through real estate, please come and join us. It is free, and free tacos for the first 50 people to RSVP. So you better hurry up because we're getting close. We're getting close. So if you want a free taco, you better hurry up. If you want a paid taco, take your time. But until next time, Do It Movement listeners, see ya.
Thank you for tuning into our show. If you need more hand-holding on your rental property investor journey, book a 15-minute strategy session with Martine. We can see if you're a fit for the Freedom Inc. fam, link in the show notes. Also be sure to join the free Freedom Inc. Facebook group, where each week Martine goes over a real-life rental property investor deal and shows you how the deal was found, how to get the money, and how to make it cash flow, and much more. If you'd like to connect with Lori, be sure to email her at vitalizeproperties@live.com. Until next time, see ya.